When you think about old school RuneScape, the goal seems pretty simple, right? Fight monsters, get stronger, take on huge bosses. But what if the biggest challenge in the game had nothing to do with fighting? What if it was about total, absolute peace? Well, a small but really dedicated community has taken that idea and run with it, creating one of the most interesting paradoxes in the entire gaming world. And that's the real question, isn't it? How do you actually succeed? How do you get rich and become a legend in a world that's built from the ground up for combat by completely refusing to do it? This is the pacifist's paradox. So, to really understand this seemingly impossible way to play, we first have to get to know the players themselves, the ones who choose a life of creation over destruction. So here's the core idea. They're called skillers, or sometimes skill pures. They lock their combat stats at level 1 and their hit points at 10. And that's it. They never touch them again. Instead, they pour all their time into skills like mining, fishing, and crafting. They are, for all intents and purposes, playing a totally different game than everybody else. And this isn't just a casual choice, It's a really strict code. These players follow this unique philosophy that completely changes what power even means in RuneScape. Well, pretty much every other player is out there slaying dragons and fighting bosses. Skillers are here, in places like workshops and down in the mines. Their real battlefield is the Grand Exchange, the game's stock market. Their weapons are things like pickaxes and hammers, and their ultimate goal is just total control over the game's economy. It really is a complete shift in how you see the game. Instead of chasing a bigger, better sword, you're chasing efficiency. You're trying to find the absolute best way to do something. And instead of finding glory on the battlefield, you get satisfaction from building an economic empire from scratch, all without ever landing a single punch. Okay, so how do you even start something like this? Well, before you do anything else, a skiller basically builds a digital fortress. First, all attack options are hidden to stop any accidental clicks. Auto-retaliate, that gets turned off and it stays off forever. They even equip a bow with no arrows as a last-ditch failsafe. And finally, their inventory is always stocked with emergency teleports. It's their only escape plan. And I'm not kidding, this settings menu you see here, it becomes the single most important screen in the entire game. It's not an exaggeration to say that one wrong click, just one moment where you're not paying attention, and years, literally years of hard work can be gone instantly, permanently. The stakes are just incredibly high. You see, this commitment to nonviolence has this massive ripple effect. It creates all these restrictions that turn the game world into a way more dangerous and complex place. The difference between a normal player and a skiller is just night and day. A regular player can do most quests. They can use magic to teleport anywhere, and if they get in trouble, they can fight back. But a skiller? Most quests are completely locked off. Travel relies on expensive, one-time use items. And safety? There is no fighting back. Ever. The only option is to run. So these are the hurdles that basically define the entire Sindler experience. You have to constantly be on guard to avoid combat. You have to figure out how to make progress when most of the game's quests are off limits. You have to navigate a world where even a tiny rat could be a real threat. And you have to find really creative ways just to get around. And this is the most crucial part. The whole point isn't about avoiding dying in the game, it's about avoiding experience points. If you gain even one single XP point in a combat skill, the challenge is over. The account is ruined. It takes this constant, relentless focus to make sure that never happens. So, with a world that's this hostile and this restrictive, you might be asking, how is progress even possible? Well, this is where the true genius of the playstyle comes out. It's all about creativity, painstaking planning, and knowing the game's hidden mechanics inside and out. Questing turns into a massive research project. Skillers spend hours and hours on the OSRS wiki looking for the handful of safe quests that don't give out any combat experience. And if a quest gives an XP lamp as a reward, they use it strategically on their slowest, most boring skills, saving themselves literally hundreds of hours of grinding. And what about just getting around? Well, since most of the good teleport spells are locked behind combat quests, skillers become masters of logistics. They have to rely on things like enchanted jewelry that has teleport charges or teleport tablets that they can craft themselves. These items aren't just for convenience, they are absolute lifelines for travel and for getting out of trouble fast. And there's a real calculated strategy to it all. Early on, it's all about just building up some cash with basic skills like mining or woodcutting. Then, in the mid-game, they take that money and reinvest it into more profitable skills like crafting. And finally, in the late game, they get to the truly elite, high-profit skills like herb lore, becoming absolute titans of the in-game economy. Okay, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like an insane amount of work and planning. So why do it? What is the ultimate reward for all of this incredible dedication? This, a total level of over 1,600. That's a number that many regular combat players will never even reach, and it's done entirely through peaceful methods. It's this massive, undeniable symbol of pure dedication and strategic brilliance. An achievement like that, it just commands respect. The reasons people do this are pretty clear. I mean, it gives you a completely unique way to experience the game. The achievements you get are genuinely rare and super impressive. For players who just love figuring out puzzles and optimizing things, it's an incredibly deep strategic challenge. And of course, there's this simple satisfaction of becoming a master of the game's economy. And make no mistake, mastering the economy pays off, big time. High-level skilling can generate millions of gold per hour, often making just as much or even more money than players who spend all their time fighting the game's toughest bosses. But you know, a journey this incredible is almost never done alone. The whole skiller phenomenon really speaks to a powerful force in gaming, the community that builds up around these unique player-made challenges. A lot of this journey actually happens out in the open. You have content creators on YouTube and Twitch who document all of their progress, and they turn these personal challenges into stories that we can all follow. Their guides and their video series inspire thousands of other players, building this amazing community that celebrates every single level up because they know the immense struggle that went into it. And it's this whole ecosystem of resources that really makes it all possible. The wiki is basically the Bible for planning, YouTube and Twitch provide the inspiration and the guides, and Reddit and Discord give you that real-time advice and sense of community. It's a massive collective effort, with decades of player knowledge solving pretty much any problem a new skiller could ever run into. And all of this leaves us with one final thought. The skiller playstyle really proves that sometimes the most memorable adventures aren't the ones that developers lay out for us. They're the ones we invent for ourselves, the rules we choose to follow, all to find a new way to play and a new definition of what it really means to win.